Hey everybody, it's Matt Shu from Upright Health, and today I want to talk with you about compensations and how they start and how they can really just linger and annoy you for a very long period of time. So I wanted to give you a personal example. When I was 16 years old, I got hit by a wave at the beach, and I just had my back to the waves. I wasn't paying attention just for a moment, and I got hit in the back by a wave. It crashed into my back, knocked me down into the sand, and then the current actually hit me in the low back. So I was basically kneeling down and the current just went boom. So the ocean current is actually much stronger than a human spine. So it pushed me pretty darn hard, and initially I thought, well, maybe if I just stay up like this, it will be better, because then, you know, being vertical is better. The problem is when ocean current is actually hitting you in the middle of the back, you either need to give or something here is going to get strained. And since I made the wrong decision initially, something here is strained. My lower back hurt pretty badly for about 2 years. And in that time, I was trying to figure out how to make it feel better. I took anti-inflammatories, muscle relaxants, and basically just crossed my fingers and hope my back would get better, but it just never really felt that much better. So I developed some compensations around that. And then the next, so it was actually about a year later, I was playing roller hockey as a goalie, and in one of these games, I went and stretched out, and it was on a breakaway. This guy moved over to the glove side, kind of beat me on position, so I went way stretched out. And when I stretched out, I felt my groin go pop, and it was painful. So I screamed. I managed to somehow finish that game, but I had a lot of trouble driving home that night. I was screaming every time I stepped on the clutch, because I drive stick shift. I was stepping on the clutch, and it would just kill me. It was so painful. So I spent the next several days on crutches, because I couldn't even get up the stairs, and I had a lot of trouble just walking from point A to point B because that hip hurt so bad. Now, basically what I did after that was I went to the doctor and I said, hey, I just pulled my groin really bad. I can't walk. What do I do? And the conventional advice that I got at that time, and this was many, many years ago, actually a shocking number of years ago, basically what I was told was, don't worry, you're young, this will heal up fine, you just need to rest it. And this was actually very similar advice that I had already gotten for my back, right? Just rest it, it'll heal up on its own. So in this instance with the groin pull, I was told, don't worry, it'll heal up on its own, just wait for it and everything will go correctly. Now, in hindsight, and with my experience working with my own body and working with other people, I can tell you that there's something really wrong about that advice from my perspective and from what I've seen for other people. The idea that your body is just going to naturally heal itself and everything's going to move exactly the way it used to is, if you operate on that belief, you are setting yourself up for disappointment, frustration, and movement failure. So I have seen this actually a number of times with clients, and I'm thinking about this today because with several clients today, I was having them do an exercise that involved external rotation of the hip joint. Okay? And there was something that I noticed that they were doing that made me realize, oh, duh, this is why that advice doesn't make any sense. Okay? So we like to think that the body just sort of naturally goes to its most efficient position. And after injury, this advice of just rest and everything will go back to normal assumes that your body and the muscles and the nervous system are all going to rewire things and make sure everything goes exactly to the way it used to be. Now, there is something wrong with that belief, because you can see that the body doesn't do that on a regular basis. There are things that happen on a very regular basis, a daily basis, that demonstrate that your body does not adopt efficient, healthy positions if you just let it do whatever it wants and just operate on autopilot. The most obvious example is when you sit in front of the computer. I know almost zero people who are able to maintain a good position while sitting at a computer. They will adopt this position. This is a position that can aggravate your shoulders. This is a position that can aggravate your hands and wrists. It can cut off blood supply to your hands and wrists. It can irritate nerves that feed down into your arm. It can do a lot of things there. It can cause you back pain because muscles here are getting strained. If your body were really good at always adopting fantastic, efficient positions and movement patterns, we wouldn't all be stuck in this position when we're on the computer. The reality is we have software in the background, right? We have our brains that are making decisions unconsciously for us to put things in positions that require not a lot of attention, not necessarily positions that are super efficient. So if you want to see an example of how software can kind of screw up the way your body is moving, the example I'm going to give you is what I was seeing with my clients today. So I was having my clients do lateral rotation of the foot, right? So I was just having them do a quick little thing where they're just trying to rotate the foot out like that. So I want you to try this right now. If you're in a place where you can do this, just stand up, and then I want you to really try to rotate this leg out, whichever leg, it doesn't matter. You can just stand there, rotate the leg out. Okay? Now, I want you, while you're doing this, to think about, draw your attention to what your hand is doing on the same side as the leg you're turning out. For many of you, what you're going to notice is you actually have trouble differentiating this motion from what's going on here, right? So when you try to really rotate out with this foot, a lot of people are also going to rotate the arm out to the side. Is there any physical reason that you need to move your arm in order to move that foot out? The answer is 100% no, because there is no direct connection muscularly between the shoulder and this hip joint. You have, things that can affect each other, but there's nothing that says rotation here requires rotation here, right? But the way you coordinate that movement in your head with the software that's going on in your brain is causing you to do things that are unnecessary. Can you retrain this? Are you able to move that foot without moving the hand and the arm and the wrist? Absolutely, 100%. You can learn how to do that, but it actually requires active engagement, active attention to what you're trying to do. So then think about how complex this gets when you injure something. Let's say I injured my hip, or this hip, right? So not only do I have problems with that injury, right? I actually injured a muscle there. Not only do I have that specific injury to work around, but I also have to realize that there can be ways that that muscle is being recruited, or muscles around it are being recruited in different motions that may not be efficient and may actually just be happening as a way to kind of splint or protect me from doing any more damage. But that doesn't mean in the long term that those muscle activation patterns are good for me, right? It could be that those are good for me for that first couple days, but if I'm not really paying attention to restoring the full range of motion, then I may get stuck. And that's actually what happened to me. Is I actually developed compensation patterns where I was basically squeezing my glute too much to just try to feel a sense of stability in that hip joint, rather than figuring out how I could gradually restore the normal range of motion. So that's been something that plagued me and still occasionally will bother my hip, because at this point I think it's over 15 years where I had tons and tons of years of bad repetitions, and my software basically learned to coordinate this hip completely wrong in order to just feel stable, right? So, I wanted to share this because it's a really important myth to explode, a myth to debunk, because your body will basically do what is convenient for now, but will not naturally do the thing that is good for it long term. So that's something you have to be consciously aware of, and something that you need to work with in order to make sure that your body does what you want it to do as you get older, or as you work to get stronger. So I hope this personal story gives you some insight, and I hope this example of this external rotation of the hip joint helps you understand just how complex things can be if you're not paying close attention to how your body moves. So give this a thought. Try to apply this to the way you retrain your body, and please remember that pain sucks. Life shouldn't. If you like this video, be sure to check out some of our other videos, and remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any other fun and exciting videos like this one.